Welcome to the Awesome Talks Project, an experimental podcast that is completely unscripted and unedited. There's no website, no email address, and there are no social media accounts. It's just me having awesome talks with my friends about stuff that matters and sharing it with the world. Hey listeners, welcome to the second episode of the Awesome Talks Project. Super excited. This week we are going to talk about body image. And the reason that I chose body image, because I have a lot of ideas mulling around in my head all the time, but I chose body image because I recently went to visit a friend out of town for a week. And I realized in new situations, because I don't go in new situations very often. I go to the same bars with the same people and do the same things. But in this new situation, I was reminded of how conscious I am of my body. And I was nervous to meet my friends' friends. Like, are they going to like me? What if they don't like me because I'm fat? Or when we go eat out in restaurants, I hate being like at tables in the middle because I don't want to be the fat person on display eating. And it just reminded me of all these struggles that I have. And just when I think that I've worked through them and I'm cool with it, shit happens and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm totally not cool with it. So I thought it would be an interesting topic just because it was heavy on my mind. Ground rules for this are, as you all know, listeners, Awesome Talks Project is literally just us getting together talking. They know what the topic is ahead of time, but there's no script. There's no research done. It's just a good conversation. So, ground rules, really, I lost my timer. We're going to try to stick to an hour this time, an hour, maybe a little bit more. Hi, kitty. And I would like to stay focused on our personal experiences and solutions, like what we can do instead of focusing on, because I think that we all know that society is pretty shitty in a lot of ways about a lot of things. And it's like sexism and it's expecting women's bodies to be. And of course, that's part of why we view ourselves the way we do. But I want to know particularly how we can change that, like how we can fix that and tools that we've developed going through life to maybe be okay with ourselves. So that is what we're talking about today. So I think I want to just start by introducing, Ella Sade is here. If you listen to RC Gals, Ella Sade was a guest, about her books, her book roadie. And so she is an old hat, perhaps. I always thought that was weird. An old hat. Why the fuck would you call somebody an old hat? But, I don't know. It's a showbiz thing, probably. And my friend Christy's here. You can't wave at the microphone.
I'm not waving. I'm playing with my eye, actually.
So we're gonna, I guess, Ella Sade, and then Christy, how growing up, body image. Tell me things. I knew you.
Sorry.
Through your, like a glimpse of your life.
Yeah, totally.
Body image wise.
Yeah, sort of quick overview kind of thing. Okay, so when I was little, I was pretty ordinary. I was super into pink and lavender when I was like 4. Everything was pretty fine until I hit puberty, and then I started to get kind of big. My dad's side of the family particularly runs to like kind of enormous asses. And mom's side of the family runs to kind of enormous tits. And it was a rough time. And my mom's family, they're pretty neurotic about that shit.
This is going to be distracting to you guys.
I'll get used to it.
Okay.
That's cool. Like, my grandmother dieted like her entire life to stay super thin. And mom is a lifetime member of Weight Watchers. And she put me on Weight Watchers in middle school because I was too fat. I needed to lose like 20 pounds or whatever. And I look back at those photos and I'm like, I don't
look fat.
I wasn't skinny, but I wasn't huge. I mean, now I'm pretty big. Like, my hips are like 50 inches around. I have trouble shopping in straight size stores. Buying pants is a fucking nightmare. Oh my God.
Well, like, you actually have curve?
Yeah, I'm
like,
really
so
lucky.
Your waist,
I have like,
you have a small waist and hips.
I have socially acceptable fat. Because like,
well-
oh, I've got big tits and I've got huge waist and I've like, or huge hips and little waist and big boobs and like, it's that hourglass
But it's hard
figure.
to find.
But yeah, it is
They don't make
impossible.
clothes for that.
Yeah. So, well, and it's even worse because I tend pretty butch, as you've probably noticed. Like, I have short hair now. I had long hair for a long time, but like short hair, and I wear sort of.
And you're a jeans and t-shirt gal.
t-shirts. Yeah, like I'm not into frilly clothes. I haven't been since I was like 4. I don't really do pink anymore, and it's hard to shop sort of like more on the men's side of the store when you're shaped the way that I am shaped. And even if I shop on the women's side of the store, so not only do I have less of a selection because most women's clothing is kind of frilly for my taste, it also doesn't fit.
Yeah.
Like it still has to get altered. I went shopping for
But imagine
a suit.
you have to take the buy for your hips and take the waist in a lot.
But here's the thing, and I ran into this. I had to buy a suit because I'm job hunting, and the seamstress person came to do the hem, and was like, "Oh, so we'll take the waist in." And I'm like, "Actually, I can only barely get these on now over my hips. If you take the waist in, I will not be able to wear these pants."
I have to get them over my ass.
Yeah, like the zipper is too short. They cannot be taken in, so they're kind of like low riding. Just because of the way they're put together. So yeah, like I've actually given up when it comes to jeans, and I just get custom made jeans online. Like you can send your measurements to, it's makeyourownjeans.com, I believe.
Are you fucking kidding me? I did not even know this was a thing.
It's like $70. Shipping's not
pay
bad.
more.
Yeah, I used to pay a lot more for jeans.
Yeah.
Because you gotta get them.
And you can specify everything. Like, I'm not going to turn into a commercial for makeyourownjeans.com, but it's really great. I'm wearing them right now. They're super comfortable.
Those are super cute jeans, BT dubs.
I
I
love
was
them.
like
They fit
admiring them
perfectly.
when you came in.
I thought you were wearing Levi's, and I thought, how did she get Levi's to look that good? Because freaking
Yeah.
hate Levi's. They don't fit me right, never have.
Yeah, so like that's my secret. They were made to my measurements.
So do you find body image struggle affects you in your daily life still?
Yes, for sure. I've been self-conscious about my weight for a billion years.
Well, how could you not be if you
I know,
had
right?
people putting you on diets and whatever when you were in middle school? Like,
And
that's
I
kind
still get that shit from my family. The only time I didn't is I got a big ovarian cyst and it compressed my stomach, and I lost about 60 pounds without meaning to when I was in grad school. And at the time I was like, well, I'm super stressed, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not eating as much because I'm not hungry because I'm stressed.
And did your mom say best diet ever?
My family was like, you look amazing. I got hit on in bars more. Like, everybody was like, you look fabulous. And I look back and I look at those, especially towards the end of that, and I look sick. Like, I was kind of pale. I was a little malnutrition-y, I'm pretty sure. Like, my collarbones stuck out. If I stood up straight, you could see my ribs
that's too thin.
around my sternum. Yeah, it was really bad. And I still had a fucking little pot belly because I had this, like, grapefruit-sized thing growing in my belly. And I stayed thin-ish for a while, but of course it came back because like my body wants to be the weight it wants to be. And yeah, like day to day, it's not too bad because like, oh, I work from home. Like when I was working, I work from home. My boyfriend's super cool. Like my friends are all super cool. Like people don't give me shit about my weight except my family. So that's not too bad. But like if I have to go clothes shopping,
That's always kind of just destroying.
yeah, and like I did a selfie project on Instagram where I took different selfies every day for like a month.
I saw those.
And
I
some
liked
of them
them
were
all.
like thank you. Some of them were like full length selfies, and there was definitely a couple where I'm like, oh, I look huge.
I don't post full length pictures of myself on Facebook ever. Yeah. Ever. From the tits up. Yeah. That's it.
Well, and even like my regular selfies, I do that thing where you hold the camera
and you
up
hold it
a
up
bit
and
so
hold it
my
down.
double chin gets hidden.
Yeah.
And it's weird because I'm pretty active in like fat acceptance communities, but if you just look at my selfies, like the close-up ones, I don't look that fat. Like,
No.
I sort of feel kind of weird and hypocritical.
You take the sweet.
because I don't get
you have a good side and you have the angle, and
like
I don't think there's
anything
anything wrong with that.
yeah,
really,
which,
but
that's reasonable. But like, so yeah, so I get it sort of from both angles where it's like, I have a lot of fat friends in the fatosphere who are huge, right? I mean, they're like the super fat. They joke they need capes because they're like super morbidly obese. Yeah, they can fly. And like, they're all super cool, but like, I'm very much in like the smaller fat end of things. And sometimes I get weirdly self-conscious about that. Like,
it's a weird thing.
Yeah.
I think that in the last year, I for some reason put on quite a bit of weight. But actually it wasn't drinking. Because I hadn't been drinking that much, but I think this year I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And I think that was going on for a while before I found out about it. So when your blood sugar is high and shit's out of control, I think you just put on weight more rapidly.
Yep.
But prior to that, I think that I was kind of in that small fat category where people are like, but you're not really that fat.
Like you're big boned. Or like
Fluffy. Or you're just a little chunky.
Yeah.
Oh, but you have such a pretty face.
But you're not fat enough to be fat.
Right. You're not fat.
Yeah.
If you try to call yourself fat, everybody gets like,
oh, no.
distressed.
Yeah.
You're not fat. Like, I can't shop at street side
Actually,
stores.
I am, and I'm okay. I understand that. Okay. But Christy, throughout your life, like body image shit.
As a kid, I was very small, very lean. Weight really started coming on. Came on in the 7th, 8th grade. Got it back down. Stayed what people would consider a normal weight, if you want to call it that. And then when I moved out on my own when I was 19, everybody says, oh, you go off to college the freshman 15. I didn't go off to college. I moved out on my own, and it wasn't 15. It was like 50. And that's when the shit came down for my mom. And my grandparents on my mom's side. I mean, like, the first time my grandparents seen me since I graduated high school, they came here to visit for my brother's graduation, which was 2 years later. My grandfather, I vividly recall him saying, I'm going to need an extra arm to hug you if you gain any more weight.
Dude.
That's so hurtful.
Wow.
Yeah, and my mom's always been, oh, you have such a pretty face. If you could just lose the weight.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's bad. My mom is my biggest criticizer when it comes to my weight issues.
Mine too.
They should get together and get plastic
crushing.
surgery.
It's crushing.
crushing.
Brutal. Yeah.
And it pisses me off. Actually, I get older. I don't necessarily accept my weight. I will not accept this weight. End of discussion. It'll always be a roller coaster for me trying to get the weight off. And then it'll come back. I know it will. But, it gets worse the older I get with criticism about my weight. It's almost, if I lose weight, then she'll try to lose weight. Because my mom has always been really thin up until like the last 5 years. When she hit about 65, the weight started coming on her.
Well, yeah, because your metabolism's kind of done with
And
life
she
at that point.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, fuck off. I'm not doing this anymore.
And she quit smoking.
Oh,
quit
Lord.
smoking.
Yeah,
Well,
that'll
that's
do
a
it.
She hit
biggie.
65.
Oof.
And so, but yeah, she is harshly critical of my weight. Harshly
sucks.
critical. But if I start losing weight, eating healthy, working out, then she'll start eating healthy and working out. It's almost as if she feels the need to compete with me. And I'm like, you're old and married.
That's super weird.
I'm single, kind of old. There's still hope there's light at the end of my tunnel. I might meet somebody still. I just got to get skinny in it first, right? Yeah. But my weight's always been a problem, up and down.
Yeah.
Family's harsh critic. And I've been 120, 150, 250, 2. I mean, it's just been up and down the whole spectrum, so.
You know,
It is what it is.
I think when I was a kid, I was pretty average. And then I went through a phase where I think around 5th grade, and I look at pictures of myself now when I go back, and I wasn't a fat kid. But I think that, like, when you start, like, around 4th or 5th grade, hormone things start to happen to you, and your face, you get the round face.
Yep.
And my face got rounder, and I wore glasses, and kids called me Fatty Four Eyes. And I think that was the first time that I was ever self-conscious about my body. I was like, oh, I'm a shape I'm not supposed to be. But again, I look back and I was never a chunky kid, ever. And thankfully, puberty was super nice to me, with the exception of a bout of horrific Aquanet-induced acne in the 7th grade, and that weird wide nose thing that happens about your sophomore year, where you get kind of like a bobblehead with a weird, I don't know, but
Like hormonal thing
Yeah.
or something makes your body parts spread, or I don't know.
I don't know. But then I became acutely aware of the fact that because I was kind of a tomboy, I had a body that was very acceptable to the opposite sex, and I kind of got boobs all at once in phases. Like I went from a
Insta-boob.
training bra to a C cup in a summer.
Damn.
I had hurdy boobs.
Ow.
And yeah, they hurt. And I went from looking like a little girl to looking like I mean, of course now I wouldn't say I looked like a woman, but I had a woman's body all of a sudden. And then I became self-conscious about that. And, oh, the pizza guy's here. So I'm going to shut the door so the dog doesn't bark. I don't know why he barks at people that bring food.
Yeah.
He should be like, hey, this guy's great. but, you know, I think when I was in my early 20s, though, it took high school and my grandmother was always dieting and but nobody ever, thankfully, like my mom and my grandma, like no one would have ever said anything about my weight either way. But my grandma was constantly dieting and doing like that cabbage soup
Goodness.
diet
That's
and
having
like
to crap all the time.
yeah,
Really?
and her and her friends used the gym in Bay City. There was this gym that was like just general purpose usage. They would do Jane Fonda workouts and my grandma took me with her, but I never thought that it was because like my grandmother never made me feel like you need to keep your figure. It was just like I was going to hang out with my grandma. We were doing fun stuff and all the old ladies
cool.
cooed and clucked over me and whatever. But, and then after high school, I went through a phase where I really dropped weight. Like, you move out, I couldn't afford to eat. I was, you know, whatever. And, I had a seizure and was put on, anti-seizure medications for a while. It was an idiopathic seizure. They don't know why I had it. It really affected my life a lot. Like honestly, looking back now, I'm pretty sure I probably had some PTSD after having that because they're very fucking scary. They're horrifying. And I think that part of the reason I had the seizure is because I was so thin and I was drinking so much coffee because I got down to about 95 pounds, 94, 95 pounds. I didn't look good. Like you were saying, like, and actually that was the end of my first attempt at adulthood because I was so thin and so sick. Like I was sick. I had an infection. I had a cyst rupture and it actually ended up, I had pleurisy because like the infection it was terrible. But when I moved home, that was the first time people talked to me about my body and people were like, you're too thin. You look gross. You need to put on weight. You're too thin. And it was now having been on the completely opposite side of the spectrum, it is just as damaging to have people comment on, I think to have people comment on your body at all.
Yeah.
It makes you self-conscious and it's upsetting. And you know, when I got pregnant with my son, I had gestational diabetes. I went from being about 130 pounds when I got pregnant, which is average weight for my height. And the day my son was born, I weighed 265 pounds. So in 9 months, I gained an extra me.
Mm-hmm. Damn.
And then when you have a baby and you only lose 20 of that, because it's kind of like you're living in this fake world while you're pregnant. You're like, you have a big pregnant belly, blah, blah, blah.
It's supposed to be belly, not chips.
Yeah. And then when you have your baby and you're like, wait a minute, what the fuck is all this that's left?
I thought you were going away.
Yeah, no. And I've struggled with my weight since. Like,
Yeah.
and it is crushing. And I'm, you know, I mean, my relationship with my son's father, I was convinced that part of the reason it didn't work is because I gained so much weight.
Or that you didn't lose it after the baby was
Or that I
born.
didn't lose it after the baby was born. And, you know, I went back into the dating market and I didn't know what to do as a single person. Like but I did find people still find me attractive. Men and women both were very interested, but it's a harsh judgment on myself. And it's still, like I said, when I was with my friend Cindy and I was so nervous, that was the first thing that came to my mind was like, well, do my arms look fat in this dress? Like, are they too floppy or does my belly show too much? And the whole shopping thing, like anything like that. I hate shopping.
Shopping is the worst.
It is the worst.
Like the literal worst.
I love shopping, but usually it's very disappointing. Because the size I want to squish into is not going to work. I don't want to try that size on. I don't want to be that size. If I have to wear that size in that item, I'm not freaking buying it. done. If I see something I really like and I have to go in my mind whatever the size is, I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not buying that size. Forget it. I don't need that item, and I leave.
I'm kind of glad I got over that bit. I got over the number because I learned that actually buying clothes that fit you nicely makes you look smaller.
Yeah, it makes you feel better.
I agree.
And so I'm not going to lie. Like, I recently went up cause I kind of rode between two sizes for a while, like, depending on the cut or whatever.
Yeah. Well, and how expensive it is changes the dress size dramatically.
Oh, yeah.
If you ever want to, like, freak yourself out, shop at sort of a kind of normal place to buy clothes and then go somewhere fancy.
No, their dresses are all like,
Yes.
well, I sew also, and sewing pattern sizes are
unforgiving.
unforgiving, and they're different. Like an 18 or 20 or a 2X or whatever in clothing store sizes is much smaller in pattern sizes. And so it's hard to find cute patterns that fit me. And I have been forced to learn how to alter patterns somewhat successfully, but not really. And part of my problem also is that I have giant boobs. And when I gained weight,
Nobody designs for that shit.
no,
Did we all get boobs at a fairly young age?
I did.
I did too.
Yeah.
Did you get catcalled even as a kid?
No.
I mean, face it, you were a kid. Did you get
I
catcalled?
grew up in a really small town, so
You
if
did
that would have
that.
happened,
I did sometimes get hit on by people who were clearly not well.
Or clearly you
Yeah.
shouldn't be hitting on a child,
Well,
essentially.
Yeah, I was mostly oblivious to a lot of that stuff. There was one guy where I look back and I'm like, oh, dude, that dude was trying to, like, groom me, but it didn't go
Yeah,
anywhere.
no.
So I just thought he was nice, you know? But yeah, like, I actually don't get catcalled now at all.
Me either.
Like,
I haven't in a very long
I haven't
time.
much for a long time. Yeah.
No, the issue that I had with getting boobs was like, I was pretty young when I got boobs, and we had to start dressing down for gym class, and I was one of like 2 or 3 girls that had boobs and pubic hair. And so they wouldn't let you hide in like a bathroom stall.
Yeah.
You had to fucking display your business in front of everybody else. But all the other girls who didn't have boobs or pubic hair were like, whoa, she's got boobs and pubic hair, and like the staring, and it makes you so uncomfortable. And it's just because they're like, whoa, like,
Oh, you're different.
is that shit gonna happen to me? Like, cause at that age, I think you're either dreading
Or you're hoping
or
any day
you're
they're
like,
showing up.
come on, are you there, God? It's me, Margaret. We must increase our bust in it and stuff. And which was me until I got them. And then I was like, no.
Did anybody ever get mooed at walking down a street by somebody who's incredibly cruel?
No, oh my
Never?
God. That's brutal.
I would throw a punch a bitch for that.
And they're in a moving car.
I have had
catch
people
up with
say
them in the
things
car.
pretty awful to me, actually.
Yeah. Nobody's ever assumed I was pregnant.
No.
Oh, I've gotten that one.
Heinous beasts.
Yeah.
That's pretty awful.
Like, if you can't see the baby
Awful.
crowning,
Shut the hell
don't
up.
fucking say anything.
don't say when are you
Never.
due.
Never.
I
never
did get
say
that after my son was born, and I, like,
Because the stroller was where?
well, like if I were in the grocery store or something, I ran to the grocery store without him or something. I've had a couple people say
it's
that.
twins. This one's taking its time.
Yeah, this one needs to cook a little longer.
Get a little cuter.
Yeah,
But yeah, like, unless somebody tells you they're pregnant,
yeah.
Don't ever.
say
no.
no. That's terrible.
Listen, mouth.
Yeah, well, I actually, I read a couple of, like, blogs and things that are all about, like, how to deal with these uncomfortable situations. And my favorite response, which I've been, like, dying for somebody to say something really rude to me so I can use this, is, why would you say that?
Oh,
And let it get awkward.
Yeah.
oh, but that would make me. I don't like the awkward. I get
It's
so
tough.
anxious.
Yeah, but it's like, they're the ones who are being dicks.
Yeah.
Like, it's on them.
You
Well,
don't
I
want me
think
to say
though,
nothing at all.
like-
In fact, don't talk to me.
I know, right? Do I look like I want to fucking talk to a random stranger? No,
I'm at
no,
the
I
bar
do
to
not.
get a
No,
drink,
strangers,
not to have a
yeah.
chit-chat conversation. I'm not here for small talk, pal. My
Yes,
friends-
and I'm buying it.
I
I'm
gotta
buying
get
a
a
drink
drink.
because it's good for my developing fetus. That's what people do when they're pregnant.
I just had a baby and I have postpartum, and I thought that booze might help me
Yeah, just a
feel a
little.
little better.
Just a little bit better. No, I've actually had someone accuse me of using my cane because I'm fat.
Wow. People are dicks.
And they didn't say it directly to me. We parked in a handicapped spot because I have a placard, and we came out, and I don't remember where we were because it was somewhere loud, and I think we were meeting you somewhere. No, because I would have said something to you afterwards.
Yeah, and then I would have asked to borrow your cane.
Yeah. So we go in there, and the guy behind me is like, "Are you fucking kidding me? She's just parking in that fucking spot because she's fat. She's using her cane because being fat isn't a disability." But I stopped and turned around and was like, "Did you just really say that?" And he's like, no, I didn't mean you. And I'm like, who the fuck were you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, you don't know anything about me. Don't fucking comment on me. And his girlfriend was horrified. She was like, I am so sorry.
Do you ever feel sorry for our skinny sisters, though, at the same time?
Well, here's
Not
the thing.
as much.
I think that,
Honestly, fat people are denied health care. They get paid less. They have more trouble getting jobs.
Yeah.
Like, it is, having people comment on your body fucking sucks. I mean, that shit is traumatizing, regardless of what they're saying.
It's true.
Like, and harassing skinny people, not
wrong.
okay.
No.
But it's different.
When I was thinner, somebody would have harassed me more about being a thin person then, and maybe it would have stuck. You know? But I have friends that are thin and downright skinny in my eyes. Mm-hmm. And I try not to be mean to them because maybe they don't want to be called skinny. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want to be called fat unless it's by myself. I'm the only one allowed to call me fat. And I don't want you to say, oh, you're not fat. Fuck off. You're lying. You're blind. Or something's wrong with you. But I have friends that are really long and lean. And so instead of calling them skinny, you're just long and lean. And that didn't, most of it. But
here's, like, solution-wise, here's the thing. Here's where I think we need to get, though, is that's just never a conversation.
Yeah. Like, unless you're talking about medical shit.
Yeah. Like why it shouldn't be a conversation. Like, everybody has a body. We have we have to drive around in these fucking skin bags.
Yeah.
And
I don't think that I would like to see us in a point where there's no conversation about it. And there's no plus size section. Clothes manufacturers just make clothes in all the sizes, and you go to a store and you pull it off a rack. And you don't have to be sequestered to a special part of the store. And what always pisses me off is they put the fucking plus size next to the maternity section.
You get confused.
And then you're like, wait a
minute, why is there so much belly
room? Is this a maternity thing? Or is, like, you don't know? Mm-hmm. And it's mortifying.
Yeah.
But I really, I feel like, and I am trying to retrain my line of thinking, because I feel like that's where we start, where that is not a conversation anymore. Mm-hmm. And I like to read about things, and I like to read interesting articles and interesting points of view. But again, I think that it needs to just not be a conversation. It has to be a conversation to not be a conversation, though. Yeah. Like, it has to be something that people are aware of before we can get to the point where
people don't,
bodies just don't matter.
Yeah, people don't think about it. Like, you see me on Facebook. My feed is full of, like, fat activist stuff. And one of my friends, I was talking to him on the phone, and he was just like, yeah, so, like, I did blah, blah, blah. And you know how it is, like, when you need to lose, like, 10 pounds, and and I'm like, do you know me?
Yeah.
Do not fucking talk to me about weight loss. And he's like, well, no, I mean, just a little. I'm like, no. Like, no, do not talk to me about this shit. I'm the wrong audience.
Overweight.
Yeah. Well, fuck. We just had like a major, and this is not edited either. I don't edit this podcast. So, if it seems like we were jibber jabbering and then it stopped abruptly, it did, because I wasn't paying attention to, this did this to me here a while back too. I think that, I don't know what's going on with it. Anyway, we stopped recording and I didn't realize it. So you guys missed some great shit. I'm just saying. But I'm going to actually give us some more time. On my timer. I hope that this isn't something that is in the background. So I guess what we're going to do is just kind of try to recap where we went with all of this. Hopefully. Okay. And just kind of take it from here. Yeah. I'm so sad that you guys missed most of the conversations that we had, because I think we made some really good points about just how we all feel stigmatized But I think we missed, like, I was saying that I wish that we had some male viewpoint on body image, because I think that men get overlooked. I think that men have the same societal pressures, but in a different way. I think that we expect men to look a certain way.
Oh, yeah.
In the same way that we expect women to look a certain way. And I think that I wish that a man one of my male friends would have stepped forward and said, yes, I'd like to talk to you about it too, because I want this to be something that helps everybody. And I was just saying before I realized that I wasn't fucking recording anymore, that, the purpose of this podcast is to talk about subjects that maybe people don't, it's kind of taboo to talk about this. Like, and although I do think more conversations are happening and it's getting better, I guess the shame attached to it keeps you from talking about it. So through this, I hope that people don't feel alone in their situations, and that it also starts conversations, because as I said in the beginning, I think that ultimately I hate that term, best case scenario, because I'm a fucking rose-colored glasses gal. I always think that is not a difficult situation to attain. That's mystical best case scenario. But I feel like when we're in a place where we don't have conversations, people just have bodies, and that's their body, that then we're awesome and we'll be successful in like this acceptance thing. But I also feel like we have a way to go.
Yeah.
And we were kind of getting around to, I mean, I think we all talked about like situations where family members say things to us out of concern. And I do want to recap, because I think this is important, because I think what started it was me talking about my dad making shitty comments about my weight. And I know your mom has, and I know your family has. And I think a lot of people, I do feel like some people, even though it's so shitty to say something, I think that some criticism comes from a genuinely concerned place.
Oh, yeah.
By people who love you.
In the fat acceptance community, they call that concern trolling.
Concern trolling?
Yeah.
Yeah. I see
But
that.
again, as LSA pointed out, fat and unhealthy are not synonymous. Like you can be healthy and overweight.
Yep. Overweight people live longer, actually, statistically.
And I was saying, because I have my type 2 diabetes diagnosis, and briefly I had said that my nutritionist, I was really hard on myself and really upset and felt like I gave myself type 2 diabetes because I'm overweight. And he said, no, it's genetic. Like, it's kind of where genetics and lifestyle meet. And yes, there is an aspect of taking good care of yourself and eating well, eating healthy foods and exercising and moving, and being sedentary is probably the biggest risk factor for type 2 diabetes. It just so happens that a lot of fat people are sedentary. So, but not all. And not all overweight people have diabetes, and they don't go hand in hand. And so if you could say a little bit more about that, because I think that it's important. I think people shame themselves more because they think that they're being
for sure.
unhealthy. And I think people feel justified in shaming others because they think they're doing it in the name of saving them from themselves or some fucking shitty, stupid thing.
Yeah. Like, our society really does equate thin and health, even though, like, thin people get diabetes, right?
Yes,
exactly. I was saying my uncle who has diabetes is not particularly overweight, has like a little bit of a pooch that he got when he like turned 50, because you get older, right?
Yeah, your metabolism slows down. It happens.
But, like, he was even physically active and he still got it. Like, it's about a lot more than how much you weigh. And I know that a lot of the diseases we associate with being fat are more correlated with stress levels. And there's not a whole lot more stressful than society telling you that you are a morally terrible person because of how you look. That shit, that wears at you. That's stressful.
No, it does. Yeah. It does.
It's awful. The way I have friends who are who are pretty big, like bigger than me, and the way that people treat them in public makes me so angry. Like,
Oh my God. I think that the story that I told about my friend got cut out, who was on vacation in Mexico, and they walked past a restaurant. They were passing it to go somewhere else. They didn't stop in front of it. They didn't pause in front of it. And when they got a few blocks away, this guy that owned the restaurant had chased them down to tell my friend that she couldn't come into his restaurant because he didn't want her to break his chairs from sitting in them.
Mm-hmm. Like,
why?
In what universe is that okay? Like, obviously in that guy's universe, but
yeah. Well, it's like he lives in Kooky Town.
Apparently.
Actually, he lives just in Jerkface Town.
Yeah. That's actually the nice way of putting it. But
fucking asshole town.
Thank you very much. I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, there goes the dog.
Being fat and health do not necessarily go together.
Yeah.
Well, and there's also a lot of shame, even in like the body acceptance community and like the fat positive community. If you are fat and unhealthy, you will get shit sometimes. Like, there's less support.
Like you're not representing in the way that you're supposed to represent.
Yeah. Well, it's like the idea of the good fatty, where it's like, well, I'm fat, but I'm healthy. I'm fat, but I'm trying. And, some of us are big and have health problems. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm kind of big and I have a shit ton of chronic health issues. They're not related to my weight. I would probably have them even if I had stayed skinny.
I know I would.
Yeah.
The few that I have, it wouldn't matter what I did. I could weigh 2 pounds and I'd still have the same health problems.
Yeah, I'm like, these are neurological, like, quasi-autoimmune things.
Well, yeah, like my Ramsay-Hunt syndrome.
Yeah.
I did not get shingles in my inner ear because I'm fat.
Right.
It just was really terrible luck.
Yeah. Bipolar is bipolar at any weight.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Unmedicated fat bipolar. Woo! She's a lot of fun, though.
Man.
I mean, it doesn't matter how much I weighed. Yeah. That is still always going to be a background factor for me. So, just because it looks all normal and chubby on the outside, doesn't mean it is on the inside.
Extra special stuff in her.
Yeah.
And that's interesting, though, that people will fat shame other people. You weigh 400 pounds. Okay, fine. Mm-hmm. But you're going to make fun of him because he weighs 400 pounds and his health is not good?
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah. Like, I'm
double
pleased that
standard?
people are talking about it more and, like, things are getting better. But, I mean, it depends on where you hang out, right? I mean, there are entire Reddit communities completely dedicated to making fun of fat people and, like, finding fat acceptance blogs and trolling them and sharing pictures and...
I feel like there's just something fundamentally wrong with people like that.
Get a life.
That like I really feel like it's like, and this is something that I've really been working hard on the last 3 or 4 years of my life. Recognizing that other people's shitty behavior is about other people's shit.
Yes.
That is all you. And I am trying to find empathy and feel bad for the fact that somebody has such a miserable existence and such a probably poor opinion of themselves that they really truly feel that they are justified in lashing out and treating other people badly. Mm-hmm. That's not to say that I'm going to sit back and take that kind of behavior, but it's more of a self-preservation, like learning to not take that kind of stuff so personally because it's not so hurtful. When you go, oh, okay, that's about that dude and his shit, or that's about her and her shit. And it's not about me. And
I like that.
Yeah, it can help give you a little distance.
It gets you a little bit of zen. It gives a little bit of buffer between things that are,
between the idiots.
That shit is still fucking hurtful, and it gets into you, like, on...
No, it does.
Subconscious.
And
brain
it's
weasels.
that thing that you hear right before you fall asleep at night. That kind of weirdness, you know?
Yeah. That's brutal.
It does suck. I'm so bummed that we lost,
I know.
We lost, half an hour almost. No, I would say... It stopped at almost at 28 minutes. So we lost probably about 15 minutes. Okay. That's not too bad.
But still, it's a bummer.
Yeah, it is. But oh well. Sorry guys.
Shit happens.
Sorry about the weird shit. We're still, this is a learning process. And even though I recorded a whole nother podcast, we rarely have guests. So it's a different situation. Yeah. So, and it's also very regimented. Like well, not regimented, but I go off the cuff all the time, but I have like outlines and I've done research so I think I pay more attention to technical shit than on this one. I wanted to have a mood of like just us bullshitting, because this is a conversation that we would be having. Like, we would just talk about this shit. It would come up. Like, this is how we would talk.
With our luck, we'd have this conversation over someplace out having a drink or having dinner, and somebody who has their own shit they should be dealing with would feel the need to chime in.
Yeah.
And then
well, you know how that would go, right?
Yeah, it'd be bad for somebody, and not one of us.
That would not be great.
But yeah, I can imagine we're having this kind of conversation out in public, which I would have it out in public. I would not care. But somebody would feel the need.
Yeah, that's fine. I never have that problem. I also have trouble getting dates when I'm single.
Yeah, I don't date.
People leave me the fuck alone. I don't know if I radiate like crazy. I will stab a bitch, but
yeah, I think though that people have radiate I'm not gonna fucking let you abuse me, and I'm not gonna take your shit vibe, because I think I do that. I think that I don't know. I had a little bit of trouble dating but I was also much younger, so I was less prickly than I am now about things. I had more tolerance. So now I just have zero. Yeah. Like, it's a good thing that I'm married, because I have no tolerance. Yeah. But here's also a thing that I find interesting. People try to pretend that fat people don't get fucked.
That's not true.
Right?
They try to act like we do not get dates and we don't get fucked. And can I just tell you, I don't have any trouble getting sex at any weight.
Yeah.
And I think here's the difference. Guys don't want to they're embarrassed about it. I feel like this. I've been in this situation where, oh, no. We had sex. And that's okay. I'm great with that. We'll do a whole nother episode about slut shaming and that shit, because I think it's a bunch of crap. But I think that if you're a grown up and you want to fuck somebody, that you should do it.
As long as everybody's consenting, knock yourself
Everybody's
out.
consenting and you're all safe and protecting yourselves, and go for it.
Go forth and conquer.
Yeah, but yeah, like, people
fuck like bunnies.
I don't want to be seen in public with a fat chick.
Yeah.
What will my guys think?
Guys, like, they'll go back and joke and be like, oh, yeah, rolled her in a flower to find a wet spot. I'm like, that's not what you were saying 15 minutes ago.
That's not the words I heard coming out of your
That's not what you were
last
saying
night.
when you asked me to put my finger in your butt. So, I mean, I just, it's a weird, these preconceived notions that we have are weird to me. Of course fat people have sex.
Yeah, duh.
Of course there is somebody for everyone.
Every pot
People are attracted to, people are attracted to all different kinds of people. I hope that people stop being embarrassed about being attracted to someone who's overweight. And, I don't actually know where I was going with all that, other than to say that, like, this whole pretend thing that we have going about people who are overweight or people who are different in any way, like
disabled folks.
Yeah. There's no, like, I get hit on regularly. People look at me. I have seen people check you out. You are fucking oblivious. I just have to tell you. She's like, well, you have your, like, Kurt calls them go lights. Cause when I met my husband, he came across a crowded room to talk to me and told me that he had to come across the room to talk to me. Wow. And I said later, like, when we'd been dating for a while, I was like, why did you come talk to me? And he goes, you had your go lights on. And I'm like, what are go lights? And he goes, you were open to being hit on. I think that there are people who are definitely, like, you don't want to date. Look, you've got your no monkey business face on right now, Christy.
I'm not feeling it right now.
She's got her no monkey business face.
Yep.
But
they'd try to sit on my couch. That would piss me off.
She doesn't share her couch.
That's legit. Couches matter.
Right?
They'd try to get on my couch and not having it.
So get off my couch,
Get
bitches.
off my couch. Yeah. It's a love seat. There's not enough room.
No. But I just think that this stigma is something like, I hope that we have, like, I hope whoever is listening to this doesn't feel like they're the only person that's feeling the things that we're feeling, but also that through conversations like this, like somebody listens to this and goes, hey, let's have this conversation. And then somebody else goes, hey, let's have this conversation. And that eventually we are, like I was saying earlier, in a place where you can just go to a store and buy clothes in the clothing store, where there's not a plus section and not a plus size and not a men's big
Just
and tall.
sizes.
It's just size 2 to fucking 20 whatever, however far up they go.
Whatever number
and
you need.
you just go buy them and
yes, please.
and we're not shuffled off in the maternity area of the store. And, you know, men can find clothes, because these are all struggles that men have too. They really are.
It's like sexism hurts everybody, right? Men get boxed in. It's just different. You know? Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, like my husband struggles to find like clothes that he likes. Hey, August. Okay, I love you. Come here. Sorry.
He came for the pizza.
Pizza. This is my son, by the way. I don't know if you've met him. This is my friend Alisade. Hello. Nice to meet you. And you know Christy. All right. I love you. I'll talk to you later. Are you out for the night? Okay, bye. Be good. Anyway, sorry about that interruption. We were just wrapping things up. But I do, you know, my husband struggles, and I watch him, and I watch, like, he's a pretty gregarious, chipper guy. But I watch the soul-crushing level of having to buy clothes.
Or the fact that sometimes even his own friends have made comments.
Yeah. You know, like, and I think it's worse with guys, because you and I never feel the need to have some kind of a bravado where we give each other shit and make fun of each other. And guys, I will never in a million years understand why they do
If I was
that.
going to make fun of you, it would not be your weight that I would do. It would be something else.
Well, and
You know what I
why
mean?
would I don't even understand
attribute
that.
I would go after.
Yeah. Compassion is feminine in
Yeah.
our culture, and men who are
They're
feminine
taught,
are not men.
yeah, they're taught not to be. And like,
I want to make them cry when they're rude to each other, though.
yeah, I know, me too. Also, like the whole like dick tap thing that they do and stuff.
The fuck?
I don't get that, because if one of you guys punched me in the boob when you came in, I would hit you back. I would be like, why did you just punch me in the boob, you bitch?
We've had conversations out in my other group of friends that I run with, because the guys like to play that game out there.
I will
We're
never
going to start a
understand
female
that.
version called Coochie Tap. Just watch out. That's all I'm saying.
All right, well, you can tap my coochie. Don't punch me in the boob, though.
Yeah, that shit hurts.
I know.
Like, especially because guys know, I do not own a penis myself, but I have seen the reaction to a penis getting hit, and it's
That's painful from what I
yeah.
understand. Dangling
I
is sensitive.
hear that it's not awesome.
People gone down from it. Like, they just
Oh yeah.
buckle
Like,
up.
I've
If
seen
it's bad enough, they'll throw up.
I've seen dudes puke. Yeah, I was
I
gonna
don't-
say I've actually seen someone vomit from getting.
Why is pussy like synonymous with weakness? Like pussy
Yeah.
can put a baby into the world, and guys, like if they get punched in the dick, they fall over and puke.
Yeah,
Like
I don't get
I
that.
think dick should be pussy.
Yeah,
Instead.
don't quit being a dick, man. Come
Yeah,
on,
you're such a baby. So delicate.
you're sensitive like a penis. I think there's a quote on the internet that is attributed to Betty White, and I don't
Yes.
know that Betty White actually said it, but, and it's almost impossible to fucking figure this shit out now, but when she's like, why do people say, basically she's saying what you said, why are pussies, like, why do they call someone a pussy when they're weak? You should call someone a pussy when they're strong, because
Just think and take a
they could
pounding.
take a pounding, that's what she said. I don't think that Betty White said that, but
Probably not. But it's an
who
awesome
knows?
quote.
And I love to think that she said that. So
Well, she's awesome.
She
I can
is.
see her saying it.
She's hilarious, and she's pretty filthy. So perhaps.
Totally.
But so in parting, because I am getting hangry. We got pizza waiting for us downstairs,
Yeah.
and I hope the dog is not scoping out our pizza, because I'll have to do mean things to my dog. But
The kid was down there.
well, I'm hoping Kurt ordered more than one pizza. So I see that's a timer telling us we have to be done. Stop. Okay. I just yelled into the microphone. That was awesome. Going forward, I think, like, what do you think the most important thing is for people to do to change our thought patterns in this, and to make, to get to that point where it doesn't matter?
I think one of the things that's made the biggest difference to me, like with my stuff around all this, is reading up on the science. There have been studies for a long ass time that are like, oh yeah, losing weight does not make you healthier. Like, being fat does not mean you're unhealthy. Like, this shit is all scientifically proven. I highly recommend people to Google the study that recently completed on people who were on The Biggest Loser. There were some really interesting chemical long-term effects on the body.
You know what? I have a really good friend who was on Biggest Loser. He was my neighbor, Arthur. And they were from Arthur and Jesse. They were a father-son team. They were our neighbors for years. And he was just in the hospital. Like he because of the shame. You go out to eat and you feel like people, and then he got isolated and they had to come like cut him out of his room and take him to a rehab facility, and he's back on track. But I think it's always the conversation about losing weight and not being healthy. And that is how I'm trying to fight the shame of all of this, is to just, I want to feel good. And right now I don't feel good. And and I know that losing weight is a piece of feeling good. I want to feel attractive in my clothing, but I also want to be able to move better and to not have as much, like I'm starting to have hip and knee pain, and it's because my body is holding a lot of weight and I'm not moving around that much.
Like you're not moving a lot. How old are you? Like,
I know. Well, also I'm 43 and I'm starting to get arthritis. So, and it's hereditary in my family.
Yeah, exactly. So even if you were then, you would probably still have that shit.
Arthritis.
Yeah.
But I think that concentrating on feeling good.
Yeah.
Not even necessarily health.
Not being necessarily even being thin, if you will.
No.
Yeah.
Being healthy.
Feeling good.
And feeling good.
Yeah, like listening to your body, like when you were talking about earlier, I don't know if it was during the part that got lost, about like paying attention to your blood sugar levels and how you feel. Like that matters.
I know
Listening
now
to your body
where my
matters.
blood sugar, I can tell when I have high blood sugar now by the way my body reacts.
That's awesome.
It's pretty easy to tell when you have low blood sugar because you're hungry as well. But also, high blood sugar and low blood sugar have very similar symptoms.
Interesting.
And there's a lot of crossover. So I think a lot of years I thought I was having low blood sugar, but I was having high blood sugar. But now I know, like now I'm like, oh shit, I shouldn't have eaten that. Or, oh, I need to get up and move or something. Yeah. But Christy, where are you at with this? Moving forward,
I just quit shaming people for just being who they are. Maybe they are trying to lose weight. Maybe they're not. It's really nobody's business. Just leave them alone to live their lives.
You know, my motto is mind your own fucking business. I say it to myself all the time when I see something on the interwebs and I get worked up about it and I want to comment on somebody's shit. I'm like, no. Katie. They can think what they want to. Mind your own fucking business. So.
Don't assume a fat person's not getting laid either.
Yeah.
Word.
I think just the cruelty and the, I'm a mom and I hope that I trained my son not to, I hope that I taught him not to, I did some deprogramming. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think we're all trained to see things a certain way. Just because our parents were raised this way and their parents were raised this way.
Well, it's what you see on TV.
It's what you see in your world. And I think empathy is a big piece of the puzzle that people miss sometimes. And it's overwhelming. Like, I'm a very empathetic person and I have I struggle with that sometimes because it's overwhelming. It makes you want to shut down. If you have empathy for everybody that has something going on in their life, it's a little bit soul crushing. Yeah. But also, I think being able to put yourself in someone else's shoes and go, oh, how would I feel if somebody were saying shit like that? Or how would I feel if I couldn't go to the grocery store and buy food without feeling like people were judging what was in my fucking cart.
Or watching me because I have to use the writing cart while I do my grocery shopping, so people are always looking in there to see what I'm buying. I've seen people do that at the grocery store. It's disturbing.
Gross. People suck.
I think
It sucks.
But again, in those situations, what I try to tell myself is they got something fucking going on that I don't know
yeah.
about.
That's their
It's their shit.
That's their shit.
And they've got something going on
Nice
that I don't
on
know
paper.
about. And it's
Yeah.
very sad that they have an existence that makes them,
Miserable human being.
Yeah.
Is the nicest thing you can say.
it's a bummer. But all right. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up, guys. So we'll be back in a month or so. And I don't know what we're going to talk about next time, but we will talk about shit. But be nice to yourselves. That's what I think.
Yep.